In this video, we will be making corrections to your Unit 5 end of unit assessment to help you get some bonus points back. Let's get started. Question 1 on the assessment. Select all expressions that are equivalent to 35 over 100. So, since it says select all, that is going to mean that we need to pick more than one. So, first, I'm going to say anything over 100 would be hundredths, because that's just how place value works. So 35 over 100 is 35 hundredths. I would also say 35 hundredths means that we have 30, 3/10ths, and 5 hundredths to make 35 total hundredths, which would be option D. Now let's look at the others. We know it's not A because it's not thousandths. We know it's not B because 35 hundredths is less than 1 and 3.5 is more than 1. Now let's look at 35%. We know that percent means out of 100. Sorry, that's a division symbol, not a percent symbol. There we go. We know that percents are out of 100. So 35 out of 100 would in fact be 35%. So C, D, and E all are equivalent. Let's keep going. Which of the following would be used to solve 224 7/10 divided by 7/10? Okay, let's take a look. So if I set this up, we know that the first number always goes on the inside, as we have discussed many times. Also, and then we have 7/10 on the outside. Now, I hear the math police coming because we cannot have a decimal on the outside. So, we need to take care of that. And we are going to do that by multiplying the outside by 10 to move that decimal point over. 7/10 times 10 creates a whole number. Now, on the inside, we need to do the same thing. We have to match action for action. If we multiply the outside by 10, we also need to multiply the inside by 10 and scoot that decimal point over. So now my new problem is 2,247 divided by 7, which I see in option C. All right, let's keep going. So now we're actually going to calculate that. 224.7 divided by 0.7. Sorry about the messy handwriting. And we just talked about how we cannot have a decimal on the outside, so we need to move them over. If I multiply the outside by 10 to create a whole number, I also need to multiply the inside by 10 to also complete the whole number. All right, now we have 2,247 divided by 7. I'm going to write some multiples of 7 over on the side, so that way I have a list to reference. Okay, how many 7s can fit into 2? 0. How many 7s can now fit into 22? And that would be correct, 3, because that would be 21. We cannot fit any more, or there would be too many. Next step is always subtract. 22 minus 21 is 1. Bring down the 4. Now I need to ask myself how many 7s fit into 14, which is 2 exactly. So I'm going to put a 2 up top. 7 times 2 is 14. Subtract, we get 0. We are not done though. We still have this 7 to bring down. Now I need to ask myself how many 7s fit into 7. That answer would be 1. So our final 7 times 1 is 7. Subtract, you get 0. All of our numbers are brought down. My remainder is 0, so we have our final quotient, 321. All right, let's keep going. Calculate the value 72 and 57 hundredths minus 8 and 162 thousandths. I want you guys to remember that when we are subtracting, we have to stack the decimals on top of each other and go place value for place value. I have 72. 2 is in my ones place, so I'm gonna, and then 8 on the other side is in my ones place. 5 is in my tenths place. 1 is in my tenths place. Remember, we have to match the place values. 7 is in my hundredths place. Underneath that, 6 is in the hundredths place. And then we still have this 2. Since there's nothing in the thousands place above, we are going to put a 0. Now just make sure everything is stacked, tenths for tenths, hundredths for hundredths, thousands and thousands. Always start on the right. I cannot do 0 minus 2, so we need to borrow from the 7. 7 becomes a 6, bring over 10, the 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 2 is 8. 6 minus 6 is 0. 5 minus 1 is 4. Decimal point lines up. I cannot do 2 minus 8, so again, we're going to borrow from the neighbor. 7 becomes a 6, and then we're borrowing 10, so 2 becomes 12. 12 minus 8 is 4. 6 minus nothing is 6. So our final difference, remember difference is the answer to subtraction, is 64 and 408 thousandths. All right, let's keep going. Calculate the value of 23 and 2 tenths and 13 hundredths. All right, when we multiply, we first take out the decimal points and then we will put them back after. So 23 and 2 tenths, we're just going to write as 232. 13 hundredths, we're just going to write as 13. We get rid of the decimal points and we will deal with them after. When in doubt, grid it out. This is a much more efficient way to do your multiplication. I am making 3 columns because my first factor has 3 digits. I'm making 2 rows because my second factor has 2 digits. 232, we can rewrite as 200 plus 30 plus 2. 13, we can write as 10 plus 3. Now let's multiply out each area and then we'll put them together. 10 times 200 is 2,000. Because 1 times 2 is 2, then we have 3 zeros. 10 times 30 is 300. Because 1 times 3 is 3, and then we have 2 zeros. 10 times 2 is 20. 1 times 2 is 2, and then add a 0. 200 times 3 is 600. 30 times 3 is 90. 3 times 2 is 6. So now let's sum up the 2 rows. 2,320. 696 is the bottom row. Let's add them up. 0 and 6 is 6. 2 plus 9 is 11. 1 goes down, 1 goes up. 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 6 is 10. 1 plus 2 is 3. All right, but our answer is not 3,016. We still need to put back our decimal point. In our factors, the first number has 1 decimal point after, 1 number after the decimal. Our second number has 2 numbers after the decimal. So that means we need to make a total of 3 scoots. So start at the end, 1, 2, 3 scoots. So our final product is 3 and 16 thousandths. All right, let's keep going. calculate the value of 3,405 divided by 15. Again, the first number always goes on the inside. All right, now let's calculate. 15 does not, and then I'm going to write some multiples of 15 over on the side. 45, 60, 75, 90, 105, 120. I don't know if we'll need more than that. If we do, we'll add them in. All right, 15 does not fit into 3, so I'm going to put an X. 15 fits into 34 2 times, which is 30. 15 times 2 is 30. Subtract out your difference. 34 minus 30 is 4. Next step, bring down the 0. How many times does 15 fit into 40? 15 fits into 40 still 2 times, because 3 would be 45, which is too many. 15 times 2 is 30. Subtract, we get 10. Bring down the 5. 15 fits into 105. I see it on the list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. 15 times 7 is 105. Subtract, we get 0. Now looking here, all of my numbers have been brought down. My remainder is 0, so we are good to go. If our remainder was not 0, we would add a decimal point, bring down another 0 to keep the problem going. All right, on to number 7. Santino biked 1 3/10 miles on Monday and 2 200 miles on Tuesday. How far in miles did he bike in total? Okay, let's talk about this. First, we need to figure out what operation are we doing. We need the total of Monday and Tuesday together. So that means we want to add, because it's asking what is the total that we biked. Monday is 1 3/10. Tuesday is 2 200. Now remember, when we are adding with decimals, we need to stack up them on top of each other and match the place values. In the ones place in the first number, we have 1. The ones place in the second number, we have 2. The tens place in the first number is 3. The tens place in the second number, so right below it, will be 0. There is no thousands in the first number, but there are 2 thousands in the second number. So we are going to then put a 0 on the end of the first number to keep things together. Again, place values stacked on top of each other when you add or subtract. Now let's add. 0 and 2 is 0. Sorry, is 2. 3 and 0 is 3. Decimal point. And then 1 and 2 is 3. So it is 3 32 miles. All right, on to number 8. Express 5/8 as a decimal and as a percentage. Okay, we know that 5, so to turn something into a decimal, we need to divide it out, because 5/8 really says 5 divided by 8. We know, because a fraction means division. 5 is our first number, so that is going to go on the inside. 8 is our second number, so that's going to go on the outside. Now we can set up our division. 5 does not fit into 8, so we're going to put a 0. 8 times 0 is 0, and then subtract, you get 5. Now we need to add a decimal point and a 0, and we're going to bring that 0 down. 8 fits into 50 7 times. 8 times 7, sorry, only 6 times, because 7 would be 56, which is too many. 8 times 6 is 48. Subtract, we get 2. We cannot have a remainder, so let's bring down another 0. 8 fits into 20 2 times. 8 times 2 is 16. Subtract, you get 4. Bring down another 0 to keep it going. 8 fits into 40 5 times. So we have 625 thousandths as the decimal. We now need to turn this into a percentage. 625 out of 1,000, if we want a percentage, that means that we want a number out of 100. That means we need to divide by 10. 625 divided by 10 is 62.5 out of 100, so that is 62.5%. All right, let's keep going. And this is our last problem. Express 4/9 as a decimal and a percentage. 4/9 is 4 divided by 9. 4/9 goes on the inside, 9 on the outside. 9 does not fit into 4, so we're going to add a decimal and a 0 to keep the problem going. 9 fits into 40 4 times. 9 times 4 is 36. Subtract, you get 4. Let's add and bring down another 0 to keep it going. 9 fits into 40 4 times again. 9 times 4 is 36. Subtract, you get 4. Bring down a 0. And if you haven't realized by now, this is going to keep repeating, because we will keep doing the same loop over and over and over again. So we're just going to kind of estimate this. This would be about 444 thousandths, a little bit more than that. To make a percent, we need to make this 100, so we need to divide by 10. 444 divided by 10 is 44.4 out of 100, which is 44.4%. All right, that concludes our corrections. Thank you for listening to our video and answering the questions, and we hope you enjoy your points back. All right, see you next time.